Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, now we want to look into the hypothesis testing for one population mean. Okay, before we go further into the cases in the for one population mean, let's recall back what we have learned in the estimation method. Okay, so for hypothesis testing, it will follow the same case that we have learned in the estimation method. So for one population mean, okay, we gonna have three different cases. Okay, the first case is under when we know the population variance. So we're gonna use Z distribution, okay, for case number 1, okay, regardless of the sample size. If we know the population variance, we're going to use Z distribution. Okay, for population variance unknown, it's separated into two different cases. Okay, the first case is when our sample size is large, which is greater or equals 30, we're going to use Z distribution. But if sample size is less than 30, we're going to use the T distribution. Okay. Okay, let's take a look into case number 1. For today, I just cover for case number 1, which is sick. Population variance are known. Okay. There are two approaches. First, we have classical approach, and the other one is p-value approach. Okay. Okay, so I will explain back the step that involved in the classical approach. Okay, again, for this topic, the important thing that you should remember is these 5 steps. So the first step is stating the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, which is H0 and H1. The second step is calculate your test statistic. The third step is find the critical value or CV. The step number 4 is decide the decision rule, DR. And lastly, make a decision and conclusion. Okay. So, our null hypothesis for one population mean should be mu equals to mu naught. So, mu naught here, it can be any number. Okay, it's we will refer in your question lah. Okay, but for alternative hypothesis, it can be three type. First, we have left tail, right tail, or two tail. Okay, for left tail, the symbol that we will use is less than symbol. Okay, for example, if mu naught we write as mu equals to 10, our alternative hypothesis, our H1 will be mu less than 10. Okay, for right tail, mu is greater than 10. For the two tail, mu not equal 10. Okay. Second step, so the test statistic here should be Z equals to X bar minus mu naught over sigma divided by square root N. Okay, third step, decide on the critical value. So, in the question, you will be given the value of the alpha. For example, let's say the question asks you test at 5%. So, your alpha will be equals to 5%. So, to find the critical value, we will look into the table Z. Okay, so if left tail, your critical value should be negative value. So, you should put negative sign. Okay, for right tail, it will be positive value. For the two tail, it should be plus minus Z alpha over 2. Okay, remember, if we conduct two tail test, we should divide alpha by 2. Okay, this is only for two tail case sahaja. Okay, decision rule yang kita akan tetapkan di sini adalah reject H0 if Z less than negative Z alpha. This is for the left tail. For the right tail, reject H0 if Z greater than Z alpha. And for the two tail, it will be two conditions. Reject H0 if Z less than negative Z alpha over 2 or Z greater than Z alpha over 2. And the other way we can use a p-value approach, which I will explain later. Okay, step number 5 is make a decision and conclusion. Okay, let's take a look into example 1. Okay, a company producing Everlast batteries claims that its batteries last an average of 24 months. A sample of 37 batteries was tested. The mean life of these batteries was 23 months using a 5% level of significance. Is there evidence to indicate that the mean life of Everlast battery is below 24 months? Assume the population standard deviation is to be 3 months. Okay, so let's take a look at all the information that given in the example. Okay, the first statement, average of 24 months is referring to the population mean lah, mu equals to 24, and then we have sample n equals to 37, and the x bar for this sample equals to 23. And last kali dia ada bagi tahu, assume the population standard deviation is 3. So we know the population standard deviation here. So that's why we gonna use case number 1. Okay. So the first step, you should state the null and alternative hypothesis. Okay. Okay, so H0 kita adalah mu equals to 24. And H1 kita adalah mu less than 24. Why mu less than 24? You can look at this statement. We want to test whether the mean life of Everlast battery is below 24 months. So which is the sign that we're going to use here is less than. Okay, that's why H1 saya buat mu less than 24. So kita tulis siap-siap. This one is the left tail. Okay, step number 2. We want to calculate the test statistic. So remember the formula. The formula that we will use here is x bar minus mu over sigma divided by square root. And so we get value of z equals to negative 2.03. Okay, next, the third step, find the critical value. Okay, so since this one is left tail, so our critical value should be negative, so which is negative z alpha. So alpha here is 5%. So alpha is 0.05. So we're referring to the z table. We get the value is 1.6449. So remember to put negative sign because this is a left tail test. That's why we need to put negative sign here. Okay, now we want to make a decision rule first. Okay, we have to decide when we will reject the null or fail to reject the null hypothesis. Okay, so the decision rule is we will reject H0 if test statistic is less than the critical value. Okay, kalau kita tengok table yang kat depan tadi untuk left tail, saya dah tuliskan. We will reject H0 if test statistic is less than the critical value. So our test statistic here is negative 2.03 and our critical value is negative 1.64449. Okay, so kalau kita lukis standard normal table, this one. Okay, so yang hujung ni adalah kita katakan sebagai our rejection region. Kita akan reject kita punya H0 kalau value test statistik kita berada di dalam rejection region. Okay. Saya tulis lagi sekali Okay. Since kita nak buat kita punya left tail, so that's why kita akan tengok di sebelah kiri. Okay. So this is our rejection region. Yang mana value critical dia adalah negatif 1.6449. Okay. Test statistik yang kita calculate tadi, kita dapat negatif 2.03 which is false in this rejection region. Ataupun dari segi value-nya kita boleh compare. Kalau value test statistik less than negative 1.6449, we will reject H0. Okay, so since kita calculate test statistik kita adalah negative 2.03 which is less than negative 1.6449, so we will reject the H0. So therefore we can say that the test is significant. And the conclusion here is we can conclude that the mean life of Everlast battery is below 24 month. Okay, since kita reject hash not, statement yang kita akan accept adalah mu is less than 24 ataupun dalam ayat dia mu is below 24 months. Okay. So that's why penting untuk awak lukis rejection region tu kat mana dan nak tengok adakah test statistik kita tu jatuh di dalam rejection region. Okay, now kita nak tengok the same example but menggunakan p-value approach. Okay, the same example. Okay, so step dia sama. Step yang pertama, still state your null and alternative hypothesis. Okay, mu equals to 24, mu less than 24. Step yang kedua, we want to calculate the test statistic. Okay, tadi kita dah calculate, kita dapat negatif 2.03. Seterusnya, apa yang perlu kita buat adalah, awak tengok dekat table Z, standard normal table tu kan. Okay, awak tengok. Kita nak tahu p-value dia, probability. P-value is probability value. So, nak tahu probability value. Okay, awak tengok. 2.03 kat sini kan value dia. 2.03. Value probability dia adalah 0.2118 dalam bulatan tu ya. Okay, so bermaksud p-value dia adalah equals to 0.02118. Okay. So, kalau guna p-value, decision rule dia satu sahaja. We will reject hash not if p-value less than or equal alpha. Baru kita reject. Okay, so tengok. Alpha tadi kita dah set 0.05. So, p-value kita dapat 0.02118. So, 0.02118 is less than 0.05, right? So, we will reject the null hypothesis for this example lah. Sama lah kalau kita guna classical approach pun, we gonna have the same decision. Okay, tapi yang ni guna p-value. Okay, p-value kita kurang 0.05, we will reject the hash not. Therefore, the test is significant and we can conclude that the mean life of Everlast battery is below 24 months.